Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Kettlebell Table Talk, here with your RF coaches and our kettlebells and our table. So today we are going to be talking about how do you know when you should take a rest day and or if you're pushing too hard. Coach Annette, or not hard enough. Jomar, what do you think?
Man, when should you take a rest day? Well, if you find yourself working 3, 4, 5 days in a row, being body aware is super important. So rolling out, stretching, kind of testing to see if you're ready for that day. And, some days the body just multiple parts of the body are not feeling up for it. That's probably a good sign to take a rest day, right? If there's one kind of, maybe my shoulder's a little hurt, I can get into the gym, I can roll that out, I can stretch it out and kind of get through the workout. But if you got your shoulder, your low back, and your quad hurting, it's like, okay, let's take a rest day today.
And I think we have to kind of maybe further explain what a rest day is, right? Because
what qualifies as rest?
For some, a rest day is, laying down all day watching TV, and there are times when that might be appropriate, right? But I think there's more benefits from doing a lighter movement-based recovery day, right? And that kind of looks like maybe you go for a walk, maybe do a couple mobility drills, foam roll a little bit. You're not lifting heavy, you're not taxing your body, but you're doing movement for the sake of recovering, which could be very beneficial. And that could be something, like I said, just a walk, or for some, it might be a aerobic style workout, swimming, running, biking, where your heart rate is sustained at a lower level, so that you hit a recovery zone and allow your body to kick on some of those recovery processes, right? And like I said, there are good times that, it might be appropriate just to kind of lay there and get some extra sleep in, and that's okay. But there are different options. That's not the only option for sure.
I think this is a challenging question because it's very subjective. And I mean that in the sense that when my body needs to take a rest, it might look different than when Coach Annette's, then Coach Jomar, Coach Jesus. So I think it's a very kind of, it depends answer. For me personally, I know I need a rest day when I cannot get my form. So my form breakdown during a regular workout, if I do have form breakdown, is usually towards the last 5 minutes. I'm fatigued or something like that. I can take a 20 to 30 second rest, come back, my form's fine. I know that I need to take a rest day when no matter what, I'm taking my breaks, I'm doing my mobility, I just cannot get my form down. Or for me personally, I have a lot of fog brain. So when I have fog brain, I know it's probably not in my best interest. We were just talking about how to avoid injuries to pick up heavy weights. Maybe that's a day that, like Coach said, I take more of an active rest day. I like yoga or stretching for my active rest days. But generally speaking, I would say you're pushing too hard if you start to notice some body breakdown. You're not sleeping when you should be sleeping, that kind of stuff, or you're having more fog brain during the day. That kind of stuff. I think, again, being body aware and knowing when your body's kind of starting to crash a little bit is a good time to, maybe today I'll take a lighter day, and then tomorrow, depending on how I feel, I'll come back to it. What do you think?
Yep, I agree. So I'm going to jump into the how do you know when you're pushing hard enough? I think that when you have enough energy in the tank, when you're like, man, I'm feeling good, I'm gonna get another rep in there, or I'm gonna add another 5 to 10 pounds depending on what movement you're doing. You don't want to aggressively load. I think it's how you feel that day. Also with good form. I know we've been stressing that a lot lately. So I think that's when you can push a little bit harder, when you feel like, I can get another, 2 reps or 2 sets or whatever it is, right, in your allotted amount of time. You're not going to go an extra 10 minutes on your squat or bench or whatever, but I think that's kind of a good indication of when to add more weight or add another set.
And I'll add on to that, like what good form is for us, right? Good form is doing things on purpose and not experiencing unwanted movement. So if you're squatting, you're maintaining a neutral spine, it's not flexing, or your knees aren't collapsing due to your inability to maintain them in the position, right? Or if you're doing a rotational swing, you are rotating, not the kettlebell's taking you for a ride on that. That's really important to note. Like, your good form is doing things on purpose and being able to do that on command. The other part that I'll add to that is, like, how do you know if you're pushing hard enough? Well, we're looking at results. Are you getting stronger? Are you able to do more sets, more reps, more volume, train more often? And soreness is really not the best indicator for this. I think a lot of times people think like, oh, I know I'm working hard enough because I'm sore all the time. For me, it's like, well, maybe you're not recovering well enough so that you could work a little bit harder, right? Hydrating, sleeping, eating, all that stuff. Some of the best programs that I've seen written do a really good job of balancing intense workouts with lower intensity and medium intensity so that you can train more often, more consistently, right? Now, I know there's, a lot of to say like work out as much as you can. It might be twice a week, might be 3 times a week. But truthfully, in a program that allows these intensities to ebb and flow in our program, you can train 6 to 7 times a week without the risk of overtraining, so long as you follow those intensity protocols, right? If I'm hitting it hard every day because I'm like overly caffeinated and I feel good and I want to like rip everything off the ground, I'm probably going to run myself into the ground, and I'm just, that program's not going to, I didn't follow it, right? So there's definitely some of that of what the program is, the intensities that you're doing, and that's going to tell you whether you're working hard enough, too hard, or doing the appropriate recovery and rest, for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm sorry, Coach.
No,
I didn't mean to cut you off. But I think it's important to note that rest and recovery, I think sometimes it gets this bad rap, right? I don't want to take a rest day. I'm having fun at the gym, or I get to move all this heavy stuff and stuff like that. And I always think of it as, okay, that's great. If you want to continue to be able to do that thing, again, we're here strong for life, right? That's our whole philosophy. We want to keep you in the long game, right? Fit and able to move for the entirety of your life, including old age. And so you might not want to take rest days. You might think like, oh, I feel like I'm losing my gains if I take my rest day. Like, no, you need that rest day to keep your gains, to keep yourself moving. So I think sometimes when folks are struggling to like, man, I want to push harder, I know I can hit that weight, but for whatever reason today my body's just not doing it. That's okay. Again, it doesn't mean that your progress is tanking. It just means that progress isn't a straight line. You're gonna have days where, maybe even a week where, you know what, I need to go lighter this week. My body just needs that recovery. That is okay. One of the things I think we do a good job of here, might be a little biased, is that I think we empower a lot of our clients to learn how to trust their bodies, listen to their bodies. If your body is telling you, you know what, I need to get extra sleep today, get that extra sleep. Come get the workout tomorrow. Like, we're not going anywhere. So I think it's important to know what happens when you don't take rest too. The rest days are important so that you can continue to work out with us. Because we want you to.
Just to add on to that, for if you're pushing hard enough, I think it's worth noting the RPEs, in which we talk about a lot. So rate of perceived exertion. So how hard are we pushing relative to what a 10 would be? So do I have like a 1 rep max would be a 10, and kind of understanding that in your body and what that tolerance would be for it. So RPE is definitely worth noting. And then one active way that you can know if you're pushing hard enough is simply your heart rate. So a lot of people wear watches that tell them their active heart rate, and if it's spiking up 170, 160, like getting really high numbers, it's like, okay, I am pushing pretty hard here, right? But if you're grabbing light stuff and you're moving it and you're like hanging out at 95, it's like, okay, maybe we can push a little harder. So a heart rate is a great active way in the workout to know if you're pushing hard enough or not.
For sure. And I think we'll end with one thing, unless you got something else to add, Coach, is what's helped for me is think of recovery or rest days more as maintenance days. So there are definitely days when I want to hit it hard and I recover and I plan for that. And then the other days when I'm not feeling like I have it in the tank, I'll think of it, okay, today's a maintenance day. So it's lower body. I'm going to load up the squat a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit of a pump in my quads. and then do some stretch work, and that's it. You know, I'm done. 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It's a maintenance day. I put something in, and I'm gonna come back and hit it again the next day. And that's been super helpful because the habit of being intentional of I'm gonna train today doesn't get canceled out. And that for me is the most important part. It's like I'm still gonna show up, I'm gonna do something, even if it's maintenance, and then I'm gonna come back and create that body awareness again and decide if I'm gonna hit it hard and whatnot. So
Definitely.
really good.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at the next one.